In this video we're going to talk about laser xanthelasma removal. The reason for making a video about laser xanthelasma removal is that there are so many misconceptions about laser xanthelasma removal. First of all, you've got to bear in mind that laser xanthelasma removal is extremely effective, and it does, if performed well, remove your xanthelasma with an extremely high percentage rate in the region of 90%. But why is it not the most preferred options? There are a few reasons, but number one reason is that it's quite expensive. And why is it expensive? It is expensive because lasers are normally expensive, and therefore the treatment is expensive. Also, the training that is required for lasers is quite in-depth, so this is another reason for it to be expensive. Number three is laser treatments in many countries is quite a heavily regulated market, and heavy regulations means high expense. Reason number four is that normally only very expensive clinics can afford to have these sort of lasers, and therefore is also expensive for this reason. So not in all countries you may find the laser xanthelasma removal is extremely expensive, but you'll actually find that it's very expensive in Europe and the US, the most regulated countries in cosmetics treatment, in cosmetic treatments. So this is the reason for it to be expensive, and this is the reason for us not to advise you to actually go and get it done using lasers. Also, there's something else about lasers that makes it expensive, is that sometimes the safety measures that have to be taken are quite in depth. Say for example, you've got to wear eye protectors, titanium eye protectors, something that is quite uncomfortable, so it makes it quite close to a surgical procedure. So there's many reasons for it not to be the most sought after solution for xanthelasma removal. But said that, laser xanthelasma removal, if performed well, is extremely effective, because what you're doing with a laser is really burning off the xanthelasma from the top to bottom. And then if you're able, if the beauty therapist or the doctor is able to actually burn off the xanthelasma in its entirety, when the area recovers, then you've got the xanthelasma free area, so you don't have the xanthelasma. Maybe not anymore, maybe you'll still get it later on, but soon after healing that should be removed completely, if they manage to remove it completely. Otherwise, after the healing you'll still find traces of xanthelasma and you have to repeat the treatment. So the laser treatment is not recommended, mainly because of its costs. It's like trying to blow up a building by using an atomic bomb. Is far too expensive. You can actually blow up a building by using other type of explosives other than atomic bomb. So it's an overkill. It's not only our opinion, but if you do your investigation and you look at different ways of removing xanthelasma, you'll find that basically lasers and surgery nowadays shall not be used, simply because they're far too costly. There is too much equipment that is expensive that is involved. The expertise that is involved in order to remove it is quite in-depth. So people who are able to use these two techniques need to go through extensive training, and makes these two type of procedures, laser and surgery, not the preferred ones. And then, since xanthelasma will almost, I wouldn't say almost certainly, in many cases recur, then what you have done, you spent a few thousands of dollars or pounds to have it removed, and then after a year or so, or even a few months, you have to repeat the treatment and re-spend the money again. So it's not these are not the preferred options. Again, lasers are extremely effective. They do remove your xanthelasma if the treatment is carried out properly. The scars may not appear depending on how the laser treatment was performed. but it's not the preferred option for the reasons that I've mentioned earlier. So mainly the cost and the fact that the xanthelasma will very likely appear again, and then when it appears again, if you spend, say for example, $2,000, $3,000 for the treatment, you don't want to spend another $2,000 to $3,000 to remove a tiny bit of xanthelasma again. Given the fact there's much better ways to remove your xanthelasma, much more effective, cost-effective and safe ways to remove your xanthelasma, as you'll see on our website, xanthelasmaremoval.com. But for now, we're going to leave you with a few footage of laser xanthelasma removal.
Smoke is created while the procedure is being done, which is quite common while we ablate. And we ablate till the entire floor of xanthelasma is vaporized